We seek refuge in God from the houseless Satan. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Peace and salutation upon Prophet Muhammad and his progeny. Hello and welcome to our show. Thanks for joining us. And as you know, our program is called Quran and Today's Life. Today we're going to talk about jihad. But we were talking about jihad so far, and we have gone through the topic, and our expert, Mr. Hujjatul Islam wal Muslimin, Huzur Bakhsh, has told us a lot. And today we're going to talk about the different kind of jihad. But I would like to ask His Eminence to give us a short brief from the previous session, and then we go to know more about the kinds and the different sort of jihad. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our show.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you again.
And as I said, would you please give us a short brief from the previous session?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. So far, we have been talking about different, serious issues with regard to the issue of jihad. So, in the very beginning, we started talking about the different terms and terminology of the killing and jihad, and the different terms which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used in Quran. Then we went to a very complicated issue, or let's say very important issue, which is about jihad on nafs. And then we came to another topic, which was about the philosophy of war. I mean, why, for example, Islam that much has emphasized over this topic to the degree and to the level that makes this jihad as one of the basic regulations in Islam. To the answer and reply to those questions, if our great addresses and audience says they can recall and remember, we said that we have different kinds of jihad. So one of them is the jihad, and is the war that people want to conquer other countries and territories and lands for different purposes. For example, if you remember, a kind of racism that they have in their mind, that they think that they are from the better generation, or maybe for the treasure, for gold, money, or whatever, the land, and other things.
And sometimes they go for having slavery or get some slaves, and sometimes they go for finding some, women, to capture and
exactly.
invade the country for
exactly.
this reason.
So this is one kind of war, which it's clear, and we read that it is evil, and it is bad. But the second type is a kind of jihad for defense. As a kind of jihad that you have to defend and support and help your territory, government, family, belief, and other things which are important in human life. So this second part and this second type is not, of course, the bad and evil action, but we can say another way around. It is something good, and it is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is satisfied with. So, till now we have understood that we have two important concepts here. One of them is treaty, which is so good. There is no doubt about this, that it is 100% good, and people must be after treaty to make a peaceful world in different situations, different times, and different places. But also sometimes we should not misconcept this treaty and peace with the humiliation. I mean, being in a position of silence over and against the enemies. This is something completely different from treaty and peace. When a person is coming to your country, so you cannot say I'm defending, for example, treaty and peace and calm situation, and I don't want any pressure, so I don't want to fight. But they are already coming to your house. They are already coming to your territory and land. This silence is not for treaty, but it is against treaty. It is against sulh or peace. You have to keep your enemies quiet to make that treaty and peace all over the world. If you cannot stay against them, it means that they can continue, and when they pass your country, when they conquer, there is another country which comes after your country. Okay.
So you mean, excuse me, sir, you mean, so sometimes we have to show our, power to do not let them to come to us. I was confused,
Yeah. Let me explain to you a little bit more. The religion of Islam is really different from other religions in this regard. And this is a matter of criticism, which we have been criticized, we Muslims have been criticized by this concept, jihad. They said that, okay, if this is Islam, why it is always emphasizing over this concept, war, jihad. I will ask those people who are criticizing, what is the philosophy behind the existence of the army in each country and government? Mm-hmm. If some people, they do believe that there must not be any war in the world, okay? There must be a peaceful world. Okay, that's okay. This is the ideal country, or sometimes it is called euthanasia, that all people, they are looking for it. Okay, but the question which comes to our mind is that why we will see in every country a huge budget of an income of the country is going for keeping and updating the weapons and the army of that country.
Military army.
It really makes sense. Why? If there might not be any war, why there is an army, and it may be sometimes a huge, manpower for the service of the army. Is it for a country to go and attack other countries or to conquer other countries, to have command over other territories? No, of course. The philosophy and the reason behind the existence of army in each country is the defense. Because they want, in case they want to defend our countries, if another nation wants to attack their country, at least they have the army to defend their own people and their own territory and their own children and women. So we cannot say, according to the ideal thought that we have, saying that, no, we don't want any army for each country. No, so let all, for example, countries not to have any army, and tell them we want to live in a peaceful way. There is no any, reality behind this, because we are not 100% sure about all people. So this is the reason of having the army for each country and nation. So we cannot ideally say that there is no any war happened in this world. If we just consider and if we go deeply to the history, we will see thousands and millions of the wars has happened. And although we have the freedom, we have United Nations nowadays, and we say that the people, they have the higher thinking, they are going after treaty and just to live in a peaceful way. But although we will see that how many wars even recently just happened.
Excuse me, Sheikh, can we initiate a war or not? We have to defend ourselves.
Again, very good question. So, let me go to the history of Islam, because also some questions with regard to the history of Islam and exactly.
But please quickly, because we're running out of time. I think we have just 2 minutes remaining.
Yes. The very difference between Islam and other religion is that Islam is the religion that wants to make the ideal society and community. And the society and community is more important than the personal and individual people. Okay? So, this community has got its own regulations and disciplines. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put the regulation and discipline of jihad in Islam, it is because jihad is one of the most important factor of making a community and society. It means that if we do not have any battle or jihad or supposition of this situation, some other countries attacking us, how can we make a society and community? There is no any reality. Yes, there is no any reality. If we won't have any army, even at night, people cannot sleep at ease. So, Islam is thinking about the ideal and peaceful society and the management of the society. It needs the army and it needs the concept of jihad. So I want to say to the ones who are criticizing Islam, why Islam has got this concept as one of the most important concepts, I want to say it is not only the weak point of Islam, but also it is one of the advantages of Islam, having this concept.
Thank you very much. So we're going for a short break. We'll be back and right back soon. Okay, we'll go for a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back. So far we were talking about the different types of jihad, and our expert was telling us the different types, and Deeply was going to tell us why we need to have war. So, Sheikh, you were talking about war and why we need to have war, and what is the aspect of having war and defense. So would you go deeply and tell us more? Because we have a lot of questions left here, so we're going to talk about it more.
I was telling you the philosophy and reason behind having army in each country. And finally, we came to a conclusion that why Islam has emphasized over the concept of jihad that much, that makes this concept as one of the basic regulation in Islam. And I told you that if a religion is bringing a system for the followers of that very religion, it must contain the concept of jihad, without which there is no any nation, there is no any society, there is no any peace and treaty. Let me tell you a little bit about the history of Islam. When we go to the history of Islam, so for sure our dear brothers and sisters, they know that in the beginning, Prophet ﷺ and his followers, they were in Mecca for 13 years. And they were under the pressure of disbelievers and unbelievers. I mean, because Islam was a very new religion, so they did not have that much, power to stay against the infidel or kuffars. So they tolerated harsh and severe actions and mistreatment of those infidels for 13 years, and they did not do any, the physical action against them. I mean, as a kind of battle or war. And they tolerated those situations. And there is also reason behind that. It was not because they were, fearful of those infidels, because at that time there was not that much power. And it was, we can say, a kind of killing if they want to go and just attack those infidels, because they did not have even the power of the manpower. I mean, they did not have that much soldier or followers. It was a very new and a small religion. So for 13 years they tolerated all those harsh and severe and difficulties and problems. Then, after 13 years, they could make and establish a place, a foundation, as a source of Islam in another city which is called of Medina, which was called at that time the Yathrib, but because after the migration of the Prophet from Mecca to Medina, so it was called Medinatul Rasul, so Medina, which means the city of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So even for the first year when they immigrated to Medina, there was no war. Okay.
Everything was under peaceful.
Everything was under peace. Although, and the city of Medina, Christians and Jews also, they were living. Also Muslims, they were living beside them. One with
good,
one
good
another. Yes, good. This is the sample. This is the ideal, the city and the atmosphere and the nation that we are looking for nowadays even. The second year, this very new religion with the new followers, it was attacked by the infidels because they were, frightening from the spreading Islam and losing their positions and money and finance and needs. So in this regard and this atmosphere, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent some verses that I want to, with regard to this situation, I want to tell you the first verses which was revealed to the Prophet regarding the issue of jihad. I want to tell you what is the tone of these verses with regard to that situation.
The tone of that, yeah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم إن الله يدافع عن الذين آمنوا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will defend the believers, the ones who believed in Him. So this is the tongue of the establishment of the concept of jihad. إن الله يدافع عن الذين آمنوا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say, okay, go and attack the infidels and mushrikeen and kuffar of other cities, but He said, okay, defend yourself. So it does not mean that the jihad is going and conquering other countries, but it is the kind of defense of yourself, of the territory, of your the family and whatever you have. Okay? And right after, so أذن للذين يقاتلون بأنهم ظلموا. This is the continuation of the verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Allah will let the believers who are attacked, okay, who are attacked. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will let the believers who are attacked to defend themselves because they are oppressed. So it is very important that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot let His believers to accept those severe situations to be oppressed. Oppression is not something acceptable for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for believers. We Muslims cannot let others to come to our country, to have command over us and saying that because we are after the treaty and peace. No, we cannot accept to be oppressed, and we cannot accept oppression by others. So we will defend ourselves. This is the very meaning of jihad. So
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupting you now. But I have some questions regarding this issue you're telling us. So would you tell us what is the difference here in Islam and Christianity? Do we have a big difference here?
Yeah.
Is there something, is difference between?
As I told you, that the difference between Islam as the last religion and other religions is one of the most important differences with regard to concept of jihad. Because hardly ever, to the degree that I know, hardly ever we can see for the Christians the concept of jihad. Although when we go deeply to the history, we will find some period of time that also Christians, they had their own wars. For example, take the example of Crusades, that they had wars with the Muslims, okay, which is called the Holy War. So if these wars, they were holy also for Christians, so it means that also they have got the same. But the difference between Islam and Christianity in this regard is that Islam has emphasized over the concept of jihad more than Christianity, because Islam as the final religion is looking after the foundation of the ideal society. And the ideal society must have got the concept of jihad, an army, separated from the issue of peace and treaty. So beside peace and treaty, which is a good concept, and all sane and intellectual people, they do agree that it must be held over and throughout the country, no doubt about this, but also we should have some, devices to gain this peace and treaty. And one of them is that army and this defense and this manpower to make and spread this peace and treaty.
Excuse me, so you mean that Christians don't believe in, defense and defending, the country?
There is a question even in our mind. I myself have got this question because Christianity is, we can say, is more toward the moral points of the life. For example, it is this proverb or this sentence is so famous that if someone will lash at your face, okay, also turn another side of your face for that.
Let him
just let him
again.
To hit you again in your face. And it is so famous that they say, okay, morality is in this way. I mean, this is the right way, that if someone is coming toward you with the mistreatment and bad behavior, so you should not react as the same as he is doing. Yes, it is true, 100% sure. But it should not be misconceived and confused by the concept of humiliation. Also, in another side, if sometimes you keep quiet and you keep silent against the one who is mistreating your rights, this very silence and action will make him, more severe toward what he wants to do. Because he might think that, okay, if this one is not answering me and replying, so let's go to another, and to another, and to another. And he will continue to the end of it if there is no one to stop, if there is no one to block him from his action. So to some degree, maybe this moral and morality will, answer our needs, but we cannot be sure that 100% it can be answered. And our needs of the establishment of the society can be answered only by moral points.
Sometimes they say this is something we have to follow morally and we have to have the etiquettes, but many times you see these, brothers and sisters in Christianity, they have invaded somewhere, they have done some brutal actions, some rampages, some furies, some feud, and I was surprised if this is the thing they're, just chanting this slogan that, we have to be moral, we have to be very kind to people. If someone smacked your other side of your face, you have to turn another side, let him to smack you again. So why we see such a thing, sometimes? And nowadays, when we see somewhere, maybe you can give me some examples, some instance. But the thing is, you're surprised. Why? Just the thing they're telling, And just, they're accusing us, you're the most violent people in the whole world.
Yeah.
And you have just violation. We don't have. But we see they have. So could you please give us something and tell them how is possible, to just say something by tongue and do something either than this one?
Exactly. As I told you, this is something ideal, yes, to have the world, just make a globe with no war. Of course, this is something that all people, they are after it. But we are 100% sure that there is no any reality behind this. If in Christianity, so this is the example that just happened by me, if this religion of Christianity, they are not after wars, so this question comes to our mind. So why, for example, we can see many Christian countries that they are spending huge amounts of money and budget over their military and services and their armies and their weapons and whatever they have.
And they're invading some countries.
And they are, yeah.
Like, Pakistan or Afghanistan, that drone, killing people every day, and no one is complaining. And they believe, and they just, they say, we are Christians.
Exactly.
So if you're Christian, how come you you kill people, innocent people, children, women, old people? So that's my question.
Exactly.
Is army just for protecting the country, or is just to invade another country?
This is the exactly case, and one of the differences, one of the things which is so difficult and makes many questions to our mind is these, stories, events, and happens, and wars and massacres that we will see happen in these neighboring countries. This is a very important question and criticism. Maybe if someone can also answer and reply these questions also. Exactly the case is that, because regarding the conditions of jihad, if we can have more time to speak and elaborate also this, there are conditions according to Islamic regulation. There are some conditions about jihad. And according to Quranic verses, it's been explained that if you want to go, for example, to other countries to, as a kind of defense, to help the oppressed people there, okay, so you have to only fight with the ones who are armed and who just come out for the battle. So it means that when you, defeat them, when you prevail, when you prevail on that battle, so, and when you get into the city, there is nothing with the children and the women and the elders that they don't have anything and they don't have any job with the war. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran said in one of the verses that الَّذِينَ وَقَاتِلُوا الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُونَكُمْ وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا. So it means that they go and fight with the ones who are fighting with you, but do go further and more than that. وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا, it means that you are not allowed to go and also kill innocent people, children, women, and the elders also.
For a conclusion, we come to this point, as you mentioned, and we extract from all these things from Holy Quran and from traditions, shows that those ugly people, they are just killing people in the name and by the name of Islam. They are the creature of those, we could say, those what they call them, those enemies. They have created them to just make the name of Islam ugly. Islam is we can say the religion of peace. Thank you for your elaboration, and thanks for watching us. And now it's time to wrap up the show, and it was the last session of this program, and I wish you the best, and inshallah we'll see the other programs regarding the issue of Quran and today's life. Have a nice time.